Welcome back to Me First with your host, Drew, the resident jokester with a heart of gold, and Amanda, optimistic space cadet who sees opportunity everywhere. We dive deep into everything from navigating love and family to crushing your business goals, all with a heaping helping of conversation and good humor. So make sure you subscribe and join the Me First fam. New episodes drop 3 weeks out of every month on the second, third, and fourth Thursday. Want to know more about a specific topic? Let us know in the comments.
Welcome everybody to the Me First podcast. Hi, Amanda.
Hey everybody, Me First is the podcast where we talk about all things on the journey of life. The twists, the turns, the ups, the downs, everything that it brings us.
That is what we do. And we are excited to have you here and dive into this good topic today.
I am really excited about this topic because I feel like this is a topic that you and I talk about quite a bit and is probably on my mind, maybe more than it should be.
You think
maybe
so?
Just the right amount. I don't know. Maybe it's just the right amount. But today we're talking about passion and purpose.
Passion and purpose. That is a thing that we talk about often.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good topic, though. I think you're pretty passionate about that topic. Yeah.
Very passionate about the topic of passion. It's one of those things where it's like ongoing. You're always doing it. You're always figuring it out, right?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, so today, we're just going to dive into how to have a fulfilling life, how to find your passion and lean into your own purpose, even at those points in your life where you totally feel lost, which, as I told you before, I often feel that way. I'm like, I just want to do everything, so it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, and I think part of our conversation will be really around do you just have one passion and purpose in life, right?
Right.
So it is definitely time to ditch all of the limiting beliefs, lean into who we are, and find that passion. So this is going to be a good one today. I'm excited.
I am excited as well. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty, let's define what we mean about passion. I think it's a word that gets thrown around a lot. But what does it actually feel like to be passionate about something? I think that's a question that I ask myself a lot. So what say you?
It is. That is a great question. And it's almost like a concept that's on a pedestal. You got to find your passion in it. I think the way we think about it, it seems so out of reach. And so I'm glad you asked that question because I'm often, like I said earlier, I'm always thinking about that. And it's usually late at night or early in the morning when I probably should be sleeping or sleeping. And, to me, when I think about things that I'm passionate about, I'm thinking about the things that are really get me excited and what really puts the light and the shine in my eyes when I'm talking about it. And it's really the things that you even if you tried, you couldn't stop thinking about it. Even if even if no one's paying you to do it, you would still do it. You would still find a way to do it, or you would still want to find a way to do it.
You have a thing that you'd like to do for free? You love it that much?
I do several things for free that I love that much.
I absolutely love that for you. I don't know that I have a thing that I would do that I love that much that I do it for free. I totally love money.
Who's paying you to do this podcast?
I have a dream of getting paid though. So I'm like, it's coming. Yeah, the mission is to get paid, okay? It's totally not. I'm not like, oh yeah, let's do the podcast and it's just gonna be free 99 forever. And I hear people say that a lot, and they're all like, yeah, I just love it so much. I would do that thing for free. And I'm like,
you're like, no, I'm not doing free things for anyone.
I don't know these things. No idea what these things are. So yeah, I love that.
You do.
You think so?
Because if you wouldn't do it for free, you wouldn't do it for free even with the dream of doing it for money, right? Let's think of a musician or someone who wants to be a musician, right?
Yeah.
Or someone who wants to make movies. it would just be like, well, I'm just going to go to school and I'm going to learn how to do it. And then I'm going to get a job doing it.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not like I'm not super passionate about it. I like doing it. And so I'm just going to go and find a way to do it and get paid for it. But like, if you're passionate about something, like that's how, I don't know, like that's the way I think of like musicians when I think of Ed Sheeran. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, Ed Sheeran has an amazing voice. He's got a really cool style. You know, Usher's the one who kind of put him on, and let's not talk about anywho. But Ed Sheeran, he was like couch surfing, right? Yeah. And like, no, it wasn't Usher. It was Jamie Foxx. It was Jamie Foxx, wasn't it? Who put Ed Sheeran on?
Oh, maybe.
I think it was Jamie Foxx. He was like sleeping on Jamie Foxx's couch.
Yeah.
He was like couch surfing. But he had this thing that he knew, like, this is what I want to do. And I'll take odd jobs. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll sing in bars and, you know, but one day this is going to be what I do.
Right.
Just what I do.
That's amazing.
You're like, still not for me. I ain't couch surfing. No.
That's part of the problem, because I'm like, everything, I have so many thoughts and ideas in my head that I could totally, and not even trying to toot my own horn, but if I really focus on something, I'll be good at it. But the first thing that pops into my head is, how much money is this going to make? Does it have the potential to make money? If not, hard pass.
Hard pass.
And so it has kept me from doing a lot of things because I can't see the potential earnings in it. So I'm just like, I'm good.
You know what's funny? So and we're veering off, but I like this. What you're talking about right now, though, it brought a story to mind for me, that I was talking with a group of business owners, and this business owner, you know, they're talking about like their marketing strategies and what like activities they're going to do. And this one business owner has a business that's essentially like a school, and their goal is to get more enrollment, and their enrollment comes from high school students, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, have you ever thought of connecting with administrators and getting on their calendar to speak at assemblies and different things that they do for the seniors before they graduate, so that you can be, instead of trying to work like with parents, or, you know, who it's like one-to-one, you'd be, you know, on the district's calendar or on several districts' calendar, and you'd be able to speak in front of hundreds of students at a time. And their response was like, not just, I never thought of that, but also it felt like the response was kind of like, I don't think that's a viable part of a marketing plan. I don't think that they would let me do that. Yeah. And all I could think was, well, they would definitely let you do that. Schools do that. Like they are trying to get funding. They're trying to get, you know, their graduation rate and their employment and off to college, you know, secondary, post-secondary education rates. Right. So that they can get their funding. And they have people speak. That's how, like, I think of like Eric Thomas and the Earn Your Leisure people. All of them, they were going into schools and talking and like that's what they do. Like that schools do that. But so what you had just said about it not being able to monetize it, it's like, well, a lot of times there is a way to monetize it. It just might not be, you know, immediately obvious.
Yeah. I'm probably guilty of being a part of the microwave generation. So it should monetize tomorrow after I do it. We're being honest here on the Me First podcast.
We are just being honest here. Just honest today.
So I'm like, all right, I did it today. Show me the greenbacks tomorrow.
Show me them. You're like, I'm Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money.
Oh, snap. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel that. All right. I feel it. So, well, a lot of people might say that what you're passionate about is the thing that you would do even if no one was paying you. Man, maybe not Drew. Maybe they're paying you. There's a monetary potential, but it's not realized quite yet. And it's coming in 3 minutes at the beep. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the countdown to be happening. When will I be receiving the money? Thank you.
Oh man, like you need my
I'm gonna get
banking
myself
information.
together. Don't
Is
try to
what we're
worry
doing
about that.
ACH? Like how are we
Yeah,
gonna get that?
seriously,
Get that
cash is
to me?
preferred, but it's fine. It's fine.
Oh
I'm gonna get
man.
right, y'all. I'm gonna be all right here one day.
Well, it's the activity that you can get lost in sometimes. You know, time flies by when you're doing it. You know, you look up and it's been an hour, 3 hours, and you're like, man, and you're almost like having trouble pulling yourself away, even though you know, like, all right, I gotta move on to something else. I gotta stop doing this, right? And so for me, it was the thing that people would like basically be like, you are always talking about this. You're finding ways to correlate this thing to everything in your life almost. And for me, that's definitely business. Like, yes, I am absolutely obsessed with business. And it might sound weird to some people because like, why? Like, it's just business, right?
Yeah.
But my wife would always like, I used to always laugh because I would be talking and she'd be like, you're so businessy. Or she'd be like, there goes that businessy talk again. And I wouldn't even realize that I had veered into talking about business or turning something that someone was talking about into a business, right? And
Yeah.
since I was really young, there are two different questions that I've gotten. The first is, were you ever in the military? Which I was not. And I think once people get to know me, they realize like you were not in the military. But for some reason, like all my life, people would always ask me that. And the second was, are you a teacher?
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways that I found like my second kind of passion. And though like I've never been a teacher like in a like K-8 or, you know, elementary or middle school or classroom, like in that way.
Right.
But parts of my career and the way that I engage in the community always seem to veer towards education or teaching in some way. And if I'm being honest, like I love it, you know, like I absolutely love being in front of a group and taking something that I know well and doing what I can to kind of impart that.
Yeah, for sure.
On others.
Well, I can definitely vouch for the business side, okay? Because if you mess around and be like, listen, I found some shoestrings and they look great. Now it's a different fit for a shoe. Amanda's like, yo, so what you can do is you can take these shoestrings, create you a page, get out there, put your brand story, market these shoestrings. Boom. It's a business.
Next thing you know,
Okay.
you are a shoestring mogul.
Boom.
Okay.
Just like that.
Sitting on top of the world as shoestrings.
That's right. Like I
Shoestrings
got all
are
these
your
shoestrings.
empire.
Yeah. You don't miss a beat on the business. That is for sure. You just sit back sometimes and like,
Man.
Oh, look at us having a business talk. That I love that for us. It's
like how did this happen? Right?
Yeah.
And there's so many times when I'm like looking at someone's eyes and I'm like, oh, they're wondering how we got here. Okay. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go back.
Like, all right,
I ask Marcus very often. I'm like, so what do you think about owning a business now? Like he's like, I'm not into it still. I'm like, oh, okay.
Still not there.
Still not there. Like,
Still not there.
All right. Fine.
It's a good thing though. You know, can't be mad at it. So we appreciate the business advice. If anybody wants any help with business, Amanda's very good at it. She's definitely going to give you a swift kick in the right direction. So, you know, Go ahead.
No. What were you gonna say, Jude?
No, I was gonna say I'm just, you know, as far as like my own passions, you know, I have my t-shirt thing, which we've talked about some of my struggles, and part of that is that the money factor. I'm like, well, all right, I made 12 shirts now. The bank account is not.
Where is my empire? I say.
This math isn't quite mathing for me. But, you know, and when you and I talk about it, you know, you like, all right, you got to take this step. And I'm like, I wouldn't do all that, but it's a part of the process, you know. So, you know, I have a few
All
little
that
passions.
just to get the money?
I know, right? The money.
Just
I just want the money.
Oh man, yeah, a faster way to the money.
Right, got to be.
It's got to be a faster way to the money.
Yeah, you know, man.
I remember one time I told my second mom, Michelle, I was she walked by and I guess I must have looked troubled or something. I don't know. I had to be like 22, 23 maybe. And she walks by and she's like, you all right? Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just running through get rich quick schemes in my head, like trying to figure out which path is gonna work. And she's like, I think she was so she was in her 50s at the time, and she's like, if there was a get rich quick path that actually worked, I would be rich by now. Just stop doing that. Like, she was like, figure something else out. Get out of your head. And it was just like,
go
funny
a different
because,
way.
like, the way she said it. Yeah, she's like, the way she said it was just like get it together, dummy. Like, stop wasting your time on that, you know?
Yeah.
And I always remember that. But what you just said also reminded me of a saying, and we all know that I've got some sayings.
A few. Just a few.
So there's a saying that entrepreneurship is being willing to live your life for a few years like most people won't, in order to live the rest of your life like most people never can. And that saying has always stuck with me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, are you willing to do what you don't want to do and what's like not immediately, you know, rewarding, in order to be able to retire early or travel the world or whatever like that? Those are obviously things that I want to do, but so that's always a saying that comes to mind.
For sure. That's a good one. You know, for me, I guess, you know, some of the passions that I have, of course, you know, you and I have talked about them, definitely being able to run my t-shirt or, you know, branch out into an apparel business to a place where it is sustainable without the traditional 9 to 5, of course, is the goal. But there are steps to get there. And being able to, I think, focused on the journey of getting there and taking the steps to get there versus the money has always been a hang up for me. Yeah. But, you know, shirts, I make shirts for people all the time. Somebody asks me to make a shirt. So, I play around all the time, but I do enjoy making shirts. You know, I enjoy doing things for people. So it probably is something, you know, that I would spend my time doing. You know, I watch a lot of YouTubes to try to figure out what the new way of creating is. And, you know, they have so many things that you could get into as far as making shirts and apparel and things like that. So just have to, you know, figure out how to, I guess that's the thing I would say probably that lights me up other than cycling.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, and cycling doesn't pay, and, you know,
it don't. I'm
passionate about it.
I do, and it's expensive.
It is expensive. It's expensive, and it don't pay. So when my bike got stolen and I got the new bike, like I got it, and then I was like, man, so they didn't just steal my bike. They stole my new seat cushion. They stole my phone holder. I was like, I gotta get these things all over again. I thought they got the bike repair kit, but that was in my Camelback, thankfully. Yeah. But I was like, man, like that. I'm like,
he was like, that is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and it didn't pay. You know, it's interesting. As I was researching for this topic, a lot of the sources that I was looking at was talking about not just like passions, like identifying what our passions are. That's awesome. But actually finding time and carving out time and working at it and doing it is super important. Like just being like, oh, I love writing. Yeah. Well, if it's not enough. Then it's like, okay. And that kind of ties into some of the stuff we talked about, you know, coming out of Atomic Habits is like your identity. It's like your identity is your repeated being, what you are constantly doing. And like if you say you're passionate about something and you never do it, it's like, well, are you passionate
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah. Are you
Or is it,
really?
are you
Yeah.
passionate about the idea of it?
And I think sometimes people do get caught up in that. It's like you see other people doing it, and you're like, okay, maybe that's something that's interesting. I love that, but it's like, do you really? The passion. As far as working on it, like for me, I have to go to work during the day. As you know, I stay up most of the night, and most of the time, I'm researching, different machines, or, how to print,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
what's the latest thing, or how can I learn something different to be able to print differently, print better. Cause, every week they have a new technique and something's always better. Um, so, and I like the latest and the greatest, which is not always a good thing, but I do like the latest and the
Yeah.
greatest.
Yeah.
But definitely putting time into it to make sure you hone whatever craft, that you are interested in. You have to sit down, research it so that you can be a master at it. That is super, super, super important. We were just talking about that, about cycling, about taking a break. Once you take that break and you take it for so long, now you kind of are restarting every single time you get back into it, versus if you stay consistent, how much further could you really be if you just be consistent at it?
Yeah,
So,
man. It's about those little steps, and you brought up when on a previous episode, implementation intentions, right? So weaving those things that you need to do, your passions, into your everyday life, and
for sure.
having focused implementation, doing what you love to do on purpose, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
it's like living on purpose.
Yeah, definitely got to be intentional. I totally
Yeah.
agree with that. All right. Well, that was some pretty good feedback there. I'll have to put that in my pocket. Can't just focus on the monies.
The
But
monies will come.
now that we've discovered why passion is so important, or I'm sorry, we know why passion is so important, but why?
Yeah.
Why is it important? Why should we even bother in trying to figure out passion in the first place? Like, what is it? What do you feel like it does for you?
I think so. Going back to like earlier when I was talking about putting passion on a pedestal, it's like this. It's like this destination that I think when we put passion on a pedestal, we turn it into a destination that you can almost never arrive at, right? There's all of these sayings and thoughts around, falling in love with the journey, and not focusing on the outcome, but focusing on the activities to get there, and the daily wins, right?
Yeah.
So passion can be like a really valuable key. Finding your passion can be a really valuable key to unlocking the things that make you the most happy, most fulfilled, that make you feel the most joyful. So when you're doing those things that you're passionate about, you're really like almost turning yourself into the superhero of your own life. And so it's like, you know the things that you love to do, and if you do the things that you love, you are going to feel more fulfilled day to day in your life. You're going to feel more calm, at ease, more taken care of by
Yeah.
yourself. You
I
take
mean, I
care
can
of
see
yourself.
that. I could see that. They say that people who are, passionate about their work, they're definitely more engaged. They're more productive, even healthier, which I can agree.
Yeah.
I enjoy cycling. I think it has definitely increased my endurance and my stamina, because when I first started, I was dying a slow death. But now I can go. I can go for a
Yeah.
bit, so I can see that.
I be seeing
Um,
it, miles on miles on miles,
I know, right?
inclines and everything.
Just trying to crank it out, trying to get better every day. That's all I could do. So I think one of the hangups for me when it comes to passion and purpose, and I hear a lot of people say this, I see this throughout the internet when it's being talked about. How do you find it? Like, what? There's so many things in life, like, how do you get to the nitty gritty of it? Like, what is my passion?
Man, I I don't think there's one way to find your passion.
Okay.
And while I was looking at, all the stuff around passion and purpose, it says that like your passion, the thing that you're passionate about, or the things that you're passionate about, are what like really energize you. Like you'll jump out of bed to do it. You'll wake up at 4 a.m., put your bike in the car and drive, 20 miles to go
To ride
and,
20 miles.
bike, right? To ride 20 miles.
Right.
Before work, right? And then, so,
craziness.
like, okay, that's a thing. And it is a thing. It's a thing
right.
for you, right? And so when I think about it, your passion, your passions, excite you, and your purpose is for you, but could it also be what you give away? Like your purpose could be what you give away. And like, now I don't want anyone to feel like, if you haven't discovered your purpose, then, or if you don't have, like, your purpose can't be for yourself or any of those things. Like, I don't want anyone like having a, computation data error trying to be like, well, I was listening
reference
to
error.
Amanda said my purpose can't just be to just be here. Like, maybe you just being here, and you just being here and being yourself and being the good person that you are is really helping countless other people around you. Like, we all have people in our lives or people that we've come across. Like, I always think of, obviously this isn't purpose necessarily, I don't know, but I always think of Dutch. Like, I don't love Dutch Brothers coffee, but like I've never left a Dutch Brothers drive-through not feeling better. Not even just saying like I left like even keeled. Like, I left feeling better than I felt when I got in that drive-through, because they will not let you have a bad day.
Right.
Like, and so your purpose can connect you to something larger than yourself. Also, it can be your contribution to the world. And so, like, honestly, when I think about it, I'm super passionate about business, and it is something that I really enjoy. Like, it gets my brain going. I get up excited to do things and to talk about it and to work in it and to build and all of that stuff.
You do. You get right out the bed and you like, I was doing some automation and I was like, oh, you was? Okay. All right. And then I'm, you know what I'm doing? Walking around in circles.
Circles. Walking around in circles, and I'm sitting here like trying to turn my brain off, because I'm thinking like, oh, if I do this to here, I'm trying to connect this to this, but if I, okay, so, or if I remove that step, I can actually go right, and I'm like excited. Sometimes I'll have to open my speech thing, and I'm like, hey, try this, blah blah blah, or turn on sleeping music, because I'm just like I almost want to get up and just do it now, because it's not, a lot of people might say, oh, it sounds like your anxiety, and it's like, no, I have anxiety, but that's not one of the, like, that's not an anxiety thing. That's it's like a playground almost. Like, I'm excited to get there. But what I found is, I think I found my purpose in volunteering and teaching and serving. Like, I serve on the Housing and Community Development Board for the City of Mesa, the advisory board, and I'm the vice chair this year. And like I love it. Like, I love being part of the decisions that are made around the funding for nonprofits and community organizations, and I love learning about and being able to take that and serving my community in that way. I've worked with organizations in the past on like helping small businesses. I spoke last week on a small business accelerator on a call, and I was asked to join and speak on the call, and like, I love it. Like, I will work from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m, and then get on a call at 6 o'clock to talk to small business owners about questions that they might have. And a question that I have for you: do you think someone can have more than one passion? And
I do.
What are you've shared 2 of your passions, but like, what are your thoughts around multiple passions?
I think I do think it's possible. I think it can be tough to maneuver sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it has been one of my struggles. I have a lot of things that I've wanted to do. Um, but to focus kind of in one direction, make it great, and move into the next direction has always been a thing that is challenging for me. So I'll try to do all 20 of them at one time, and then I'm like, oh no, can't do it, forget it. I'm out of
Turn
here.
them all off.
Yeah, we're done here.
We
So I
are finished.
definitely think it's a thing, but you just have to be able to balance those things out. And I think
Yeah.
prioritize, start to, once you get your foot in one thing, get it rolling, get your processes in place so it kind of does its own thing. And then you can start to
Mm-hmm.
build in the other thing. So I don't think you have to be stuck in one thing, but you have to focus in one direction, then I think move into the next direction. And once they have their processes and their flows in place, now you can kind of bring everything together and focus. For me, at least, that's how my brain works. I can't. It's hard for me to be
Yeah.
all over the place at once.
No, that totally makes sense. Because it is tough to do multiple things at one time. And then when you're trying to figure out, like, how do I, going back to previous episodes, right? How do I get that into my routine and,
Yeah,
and stick with it? How do I avoid procrastination, right?
yeah,
So those are both like pieces, I think, or challenges that come up when things start to feel overwhelming and when it's like too much, right,
yeah,
at one time. And then, that's when we'll kind of pull ourselves back and
yeah,
potentially pull ourselves back for maybe too long. And then
yeah.
and then you're starting again.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's like it's okay
Yeah.
to take a little break. You can't snap out of it for too long. Otherwise, you fall into that procrastination. You fall into, you fall out of the routine. And now, like you
Yeah.
said, you're just kind of starting back over. A lot of the
Yeah.
things that, I thought of, one of the things when I was a little younger was I was really into like sports and stuff like that. And I thought for a long
Mm-hmm.
time about being in the fitness world. Again, I didn't see the earning potential. And so I was like, no thanks. But I'm like, man, thinking back, if I would have stuck with it, where could we have been today? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, man, But
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. You learn, you move on to things, and I think as you grow, I do think passions can change. I think purpose,
Mm.
the way I would see it, I think purpose is kind of just the thing that you are. It's the thing that you do
Yeah.
well. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
really
like
change.
it's you. It is
Yeah.
almost it's part of your essence.
Yep. 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 So it doesn't really change. But I do think passions can definitely change over time. You learn a few things. You grow. I think they can definitely adapt to age,
Oh yeah.
environment, whatever else that kind of comes with. Um. So I I
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
heard Sarah Jakes speak one time about purpose, and she was saying that she felt like purpose is not really a thing. I guess that you find really. It's just kind of a thing, like we were just saying, that kind of is, because for so long growing up I would be like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm here to do, and going back to what you said, it doesn't always have to be this grandiose thing. You don't have to be the next
Yeah.
Beyonce. You don't have to, be, sometimes it's
Only
being a
one
mom,
Beyonce.
being a, yeah, uh-huh.
I can't just let that slide.
Clearly,
Like
he's like, I got to get
that's
in on this.
just the
Excuse me
one
one
day.
moment. you know, uh, just making people smile. When I
Yeah.
was a retail manager, one of the things that I used to hear from people a lot was they would tell me that they appreciated my smile for the day, that I didn't know what kind of day that they had, and they appreciated me smiling. So I'm like,
Yeah.
and that's just me. I just like to laugh and joke and, play all
Yeah.
day. That's all I want to do. So I think it's a
And
good thing.
yeah, and I fully agree. I don't think your purpose and I don't think purpose is something we have to search for.
Yeah.
Like you are relevant,
Yeah.
you are purposeful, you are important, you are just by existing. Like your purpose is your existence, you know?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think trying to find our purpose can induce like sadness and depression and you
Yeah.
know, feelings of like, well, I don't know who I am. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know what, you do, you do sit
Yeah.
with yourself
Yeah.
and allow that to come to the top of your mind, because you do know who you are.
Yeah.
And that's, and you are enough, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to, we don't exist in this world to do something.
Right.
I don't believe that, at least. And like the more I think about it, it is hard for me to narrow down my passion to like just one thing, because you know, I love creating and learning and growing business, and it's part of me. I love it. It energizes me, but also I love nature. Like
Yeah.
I actually have been thinking all week, like I need nature. And I'm like, you know, when this is done, even though my office is absolutely in shambles, and again, we're going to burn the pictures of what the office
Beautiful
looks
office.
like, because to get this little cubby that I'm in today, like I just might as well have put a bomb off in my office.
People
But,
should know that the cubby is lit, okay?
the people should know. It
The
is
people
very
need to know.
important that the people are aware.
Yes.
Yeah, and I made a huge mess for myself. But at the end of the day, like I love nature, and I'm thinking like, you know, as soon, like when we're done recording, like I'm going to hop in the car, I'm going to go for a drive, I'm going to go find a body of water, whether it's a lake or a river, and I'm going to take a book and I'm going to sit by it and I'm going to look
Yeah.
it and I'm going to stick my feet in. And like, even when I travel, when me and Katie travel, or when I travel alone, like I'm often traveling for adventure, like, cause and not just the adventure for the sake of adventure, but like, I want to see the thing. Like my sister and her wife and my nephew and his girlfriend, they're up in Colorado. My sister just moved there, and come back, Sarah. So she just moved there, and
Sarah.
come back. But they just went to Garden of the Gods, and I'm like, on the hike there, and I'm like, man, I've heard that is, and it's like I see things and I'm like, I have to go there, I need to see that in person. And I just remember like being in South Africa, and like I saw greens that I've never seen in the United States. Like I saw colors that I never saw, I saw plants that I'd never seen, I saw landscapes that I'd never seen, and I love that. Like I love cool nature stuff, and that's a secondary passion of mine. And there was a point when I thought like me and Katie were going to be like travel influencers, but that's really just not us, because we're so like when we're there, we're like, oh my god, do
Right.
and like we're not going to bust out and remember to like, hey, say this or get this
Right.
and do that.
Right.
We're not like, we're just not going to do that. But yeah, so I love cool stuff, and I love cool nature, and I'm very passionate about it. And I'm also passionate about bringing other people into that, into like it. Like it hurts my heart when I hear someone say, I don't like outdoors. Or
that
like,
time, like when you got me on the lake at night, that time, like you like doing stuff like that.
And you loved it.
I did.
You loved it.
I did, but at first I was like,
Right?
this lady's
You weren't
crazy.
sure.
Yeah.
You weren't sure about it.
Crazy.
You're like, what is going on? This is chaotic. There are boards everywhere. Did you just tell me you've never been on a paddleboard and you're taking me out on a paddleboard? Like,
and it's dark outside. I'm like,
dark
outside. Loch Ness Monster's gonna get me. I was
man,
stressed
we're going
out.
on a lake. That joint is deep, right?
Yeah.
But and like I can't tell you what that did for me to help you to experience an experience that you hadn't experienced, and for you to enjoy it. Like that was huge, like for me. And like I love it, and I love like being in Arizona. I love showing people the beauty of the desert, because there are so many people who think like, oh, it's just, you know, dry dirt, there's nothing. And I'm like, no, like like it's pretty cool out here. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and just helping someone see that is like, a really, really big deal. So, yeah, I love that stuff.
It was fun. I'm gonna go back. I was like, man, it's dark out here. It was pretty cool. Music, little lights.
Yeah.
It's like,
I didn't have no lights or nothing. Yeah,
I know, right? I'm like, I got to get hooked up if I'm gonna be out there again.
It was dark.
Yeah. I was like, geez, someone's gonna eat me, but that's fine. That's fine.
The monster hasn't been seen in years.
I'm so glad. I thought for sure she was coming out while I was there. For sure.
The monster was sleeping. She's on vacation.
Nice.
She's chasing her passions.
I'm so glad. And glad it wasn't me that she was chasing.
Right? Oh,
man. I've been pedaling so fast out of that thing. Whew. It was brutal. Get me out of here.
Me out of here. Oh, man. There was a point when I didn't think you were enjoying it, and I was like, damn.
No, it was cool. Yeah. I was just trying to figure out, like, how I needed to do so I could maneuver. And so I was having a little trouble figuring it out. Yeah. So I was like, man, I got to get this thing around.
Yeah, it is like learning the maneuvering and all that. But once you get it, it's like, all right. Because that was my first time. Yeah, that was my first time on a paddleboard. So I was kind of like, I'm not like, I'm fast in a kayak. Like in a kayak, I'm like, I mean, like.
Excuse me, coming through.
You see him move? Watch out! Like I'm pretty good. Like in a single, like on my own, I'm pretty good. And I was like, man, I can't maneuver the way I can maneuver. And like,
that paddleboard, it takes some work.
Like, it's work. So yeah.
That's funny. It's a good time.
But I love that. I love cool nature stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
We will. Yeah, I might go out tonight.
I knew that you were gonna say that for some reason.
But you know,
my spirit that was coming, and I was like, maybe she'll hold it in. But you didn't hold it in. You let it right on out.
No. Yeah. Always.
All right.
Always down.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well,
so let's get back on track. But finding your passion. There are a few.
We get so sidetracked sometimes.
Start, right? We got like I was like, where were we?
Yeah, like where were we at, guys?
So, like reflecting on your childhood, what were you drawn to as a kid, right? What brought you joy? And this reminds me of one of my favorite stories as a kid that I experienced, and it was when I was little, when I was like 4 or 5, I used to get like a belt, and I would put the belt around. And I would get like find little pouches and different things. And I would put like tools like in my belt. And one day I decided, and I was always starting businesses. Like it would be Amanda's handy girl service, or Amanda's car washing service, and I would be not hustling, but like hitting up the adults in my family, like, hey, can I wash your car? Hey, can I do this? Hey, can I do that? Like always trying to make some money. But I would always want to make a business out of it. Like I would create advertisements. Like I would create a little flyer, and then I would go around like, hey, today I have a special, and I am, and this is like little me, and one day I decided I was starting a nail clipping business, and I was going to be doing what I called a manicures, but really I was just clipping nails. And so I got my belt, and I got my different manicure tools, and I had them around my belt. And I went up to my granddaddy, and I was like, hey, granddaddy, would you like to get your nails clipped for Amanda's nail clipping service? And he's watching the game. I think he was watching the Suns, and he's like, yeah, baby, like, girl, go ahead. And so he like gives me his hand, and I do the whole like thing. I clipped his nails, probably clipped them too short or something, like, I wasn't good at it, but clipped his nails, and I have the little file, and I'm doing this whole thing. And then when I was done, I went back over, and I had my little notepad on the side. I pull my notepad out, pull my pencil out, and I sit at the bar, and I wrote up the invoice and the receipt. And so I come over with an invoice, and I think I had something like $1 million on the invoice, or $1,000, like something just exorbitant.
That's pricey.
And I handed it to him, And he looked at it and he said, "Ooh wee." It's like, he said, "Ooh wee." That he said, "I don't think that, I don't think that's quite what you should be charging for
Yeah.
the service, And he's like telling me, like, you're new in the business and I was your first customer.
Right.
Like, so he taught me how to, I think I ended up, he paid me like $5. Like I think he was like 50 cents a finger or $1 a finger. Maybe he paid me 10. And he's like, you have to like, learn to price your service a little bit better if you're going to want to get new customers. And you're also going to want to disclose your price ahead of time next time.
Yeah, right.
I don't like getting,
like,
my granddaddy didn't like getting an invoice for for $1,000,000, $1,000 or whatever it was. But like, and it's stories like that, and it's those experiences. Like when I was, young, when I was in like school age, people would ask, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I want to own my own chain of 5-star resorts, hotels, and resorts and hotels and restaurants. And like, I always wanted to own. I always wanted to build. I always wanted to create. And that's, back as far as I can remember. And like, so, do you have any stories like that from your childhood that really like kind of really sit with you and that, kind of tie into things that maybe are passions for you?
Well, I did. I used to ride bikes with the crew back when I was a kid. Yeah. I really enjoyed playing outside when I was a kid. I enjoyed sports.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not really sure why I didn't go the fitness route. I mean, I know why. But I enjoyed that very much. I was a crazy kid. I wanted to climb the fence and jump down the steps and, do cartwheels and backflips and just all kind of craziness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the things I enjoy.
Like, there is something so freeing about being on a bike.
Yeah.
Like, it really is a feeling like that I like no other,
Yeah.
I used to rollerblade a lot when I was a preteen and teenager.
Oh, you did?
I used to mob all over the city. Like,
you never told me this.
Oh, I used to rollerblade and I would be, hitting the curbs. Like, I was gone. I had this pair of rollerblades. I would have them in my backpack all the time. I would get on the bus, take my rollerblades off, put my shoes on. I loved it. I loved rollerblading. I was just like, I felt really free,
Yeah.
Like, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I know. I guess I never told you that, but yeah.
I guess
I used to mob.
I mean, I have rollerblades. We can do this. Yeah, I do.
I don't have rollerblades, and I have.
Well, that's fine. I know where to get some.
I'm gonna hit a rock and bust my mouth open.
What are you saying right now? That was so extreme. So hit a rock.
I saw it all happening. I saw it all happening in my head. I saw it go down. I was like, I will hit a rock with my front tire, and it will be over.
Okay. I don't have anything. That was extremely dramatic. I just want you to know that. And we can go down a path. It's a straight path.
With passion.
Doesn't have any rocks.
Said it with passion. Where Southern, when you go east of 48th Street and then there's that overpass?
Yeah.
Smashing. I used to mob on that.
What?
Yeah. I'll go down flying so fast. I'll come out.
Like we should try it out. You don't think?
I love that you're passionate about bikes. I really do. And so there are some other things that you can do to find your passion.
Yes.
You can identify your strengths
moving right along
and your skills. Moving right along. We have to take that one offline. I am terrified to put rollerblades on my feet.
Got it.
Did you see me at the roller rink? Like,
you were doing great.
I thought I was
doing great.
I almost busted my whole body open.
But you didn't.
I didn't.
See?
I didn't.
You did fine.
I did hit some corners. I did do some little bend the corners. Anywho, so you can identify like your strengths and your skills, right? Like, so finding things that you're naturally good at, like the things that you're always doing and that you do really well. Find those and see how they might tie to something that could be a passion of yours.
Yeah.
If you're really good at drawing, a lot of there are a few young people in my life who are good artists, like who, they're like good artists, and they're like, yeah, but I can't make a career out of it. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, do you know how much does
yeah,
figuring out how to tie that thing into something that you do, like that can, you can monetize it. You just have to maybe be a little bit creative, I guess,
yeah.
is what I think.
I think that's one of your strong suits, though. It's like, could be anything. You'd be like, I was cartwheeling down the road. You'd be like, you know how to make money doing that?
Like, have you ever thought about? Have you ever considered?
Yeah.
I was walking down the street and I was thinking, why isn't there a school of cartwheel?
Exactly.
And you could partner with, schools and tumbling gyms.
Everybody, they don't have that. Everybody can't put the pieces together to be like, all right. Because I mean, realistically, I'm sure you probably could monetize just about anything. When I saw the potatoes being written on, sent out as messages, I just knew at that point you can just monetize anything. It's fine. Idaho potatoes, you just wrote on it, sent it out. Yeah. Life's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
More about the bottling up of farts. That one really took me. I said, so you farted?
You can still buy those, I think.
The potatoes or the farts? Which ones?
Probably both.
I think both.
We don't have to go deep down this rabbit hole, but there are people selling pictures of feet.
This is true.
And it's a thing,
It is.
There is a market for most things. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
But there is a market for most things.
Yeah.
And so also embracing curiosity and exploration, this is definitely somewhere I can be more adventurous, but I do, and after I just said I was going to bust my face open, and I'm not getting any rollerblades, but I do try to give new things a shot. That's not a new thing. That's an old thing that's trying to come back around, and it terrifies me to my core. But I do try not to say no to new experiences too often. I do try to give things a shot, I think. So that's one, is trying new things. And if you don't feel like you know what your passion is, you're not going to find it sitting in your room,
right,
not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
You're going to find there are things that I never would have thought that I would have been excited about. I literally remember my first camping trip. I will never forget it. And it wasn't something that I was exposed to growing up, as a kid. And I didn't go camping for the first time until I was pregnant with Marcus. And I was 3 months pregnant. I hadn't told anyone yet. And Sarah's dad was like, do you guys want to go on a camping trip? And I didn't say that. And I was like, yes, because I always wanted to go, but I just never had an opportunity. And that camping trip honestly just changed my life. It really opened me up to doing all the adventure stuff. I don't think I would be doing it if I hadn't have gone on that trip. And, I experienced more things on that trip: hiking, crossing rivers, cooking what we caught, all these different things that I had never experienced. And I would have never known if I hadn't have said, yeah, I want to go to something I'd never done before.
Yeah.
And then there's also connecting with mentors and role models. If your circle is filled with people that do not fill you up, that don't excite you, if you are around a bunch of people who are, those still people, still in the job they don't like, still not, feeling like they're not accomplishing their things, still, thinking about doing this or that, or, they have the same problems year after year after year. It's like
Yeah.
at some point you got to take responsibility, right? And so getting out of that, get from around those people who don't inspire you, and find people who do. And I mean, it's like I remember when my goal was to make $16 an hour.
Mm.
Like I remember when that was like, man, I will have made it, right?
Yeah.
Making $10,000 a month seems really out of reach when the only exposure that you have is to people who've never done it.
Right.
And then when you start to get around people who have done it or are doing it, and you're like, oh, it's doesn't seem so out of reach. And then, making $1 million a year, making $1 million a month, making, like, it seems so out of reach when you have no point of reference for it.
Right.
But when you put yourself around people who are doing what you aspire to be doing, it takes the mystery out of it. And then also it gives you access to people who can potentially help you to get there, because the people who've never done it, like, they're not going to teach you how to do it.
Yeah,
just not.
Sure.
It's you guys might stumble upon it together, but like, you have to put yourself in rooms and in proximity to people who are doing what you desire to do.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Now, I think you were telling me something about life mapping.
Life mapping. Oh, so life mapping. A blog from Calm suggests creating a visual timeline of significant life events to identify patterns and moments of fulfillment. I think life mapping could be a great way to discover the times in your life that you felt most fulfilled and satisfied. Times that you see patterns that could lead to finding your passion that's current right now. I think we've talked about this before, maybe in a previous episode, maybe.
Yeah,
a little
kind
bit.
of like almost like vision boarding or scrapbooking, kind of.
Yeah, oh, so you love a good vision board.
I love a vision board.
I know you do.
I love it. I love vision boards, guys.
I love you.
I really do. I really do. Well, in the end, exploring activities that light us up, that excite us, that give us energy, they move us to pursuing our goals. And whether it's in your career, your relationship, personal growth, finding the things that make us feel the most fulfilled in life, it can't hurt. And doing things that you're passionate about also helps. If you're feeling burnt out, like, stop doing the things that are burning you out and go do something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? That can really, really help with stress relief and things like that. Like, I don't know, but like, for you, like, do you ever find kind of like peace or calm when you're creating shirts, by for instance, like when you're doing the actual process of it?
Mm-hmm. It's a very calming experience. I think for particularly, like you said, if you're in situations that don't fulfill you or don't bring you peace, let's say it's a job and you just can't be like, see y'all later right now. Find things outside of that bring you that peace and that joy, so that you just can kind of create a balance there. Yeah, I got to do this thing because that's just what has to be done right now. But when I get off, I'm getting in the zone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm diving into that thing that I really, really love, and that really makes me happy. So I think that's definitely a good aspect.
That's real. Yeah. Do the things that fulfill you and find the time to do them, even when you can't do it full time.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree.
So for all you listeners out there, you listening folks,
listenings,
this week's journal prompt is, if you could wave a magic wand and spend your day doing something HR appropriate, what would it be? What would that thing look like? Don't hold back and dream big. I'd love to hear some of these journals for sure.
No, I'd love to hear those journal prompts. I might have to do me up some. I love a good journal. But definitely, we cannot wait to hear the thoughts and ideas that you come up with. Share your Me First moments with us on social media using the Me First Moment hashtag. You can see us on Instagram at Me First. Got the page up.
Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. So go like it, share, follow, all that good stuff. Remember, your passions are your superpowers. Get out there, find them, and unleash them. The world deserves to know.
Let's
Peace.
go.